Jana.
Hi,
Guten Tag.
guten Tag, wie geht's?
I'll get there eventually. That's all I got.
We'll work on it.
Um, Question from a preschool digital mom to you. Did
Mhm.
you enjoy having a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old more?
2-year-old, because he couldn't talk back as much and he had his terrible twos at 3. 2-year-old, hands down. If I didn't like something, I just could pick him up and move him.
Interesting. I 2 was just a lot of sprinting. Like it was just a lot of like run and go. Like there was like no control. He could
Wow.
open all the locks.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he could open all the locks before he turned 2. Like, my dad was trying to open it, like, he got stuck,
Yeah.
and my oldest came over and was just like, "Here you go, papa," and, like, lifted
Oh,
it
wow.
and opened it, and I was like, "You can open it?" And he looked at me and closed it back really fast and walked away.
That's awesome.
And my youngest just screamed all through her twos,
Oh,
because she
wow.
couldn't communicate, and it really was just like overall. Well, she cried because 2-year-olds do that, but like the
Yeah.
main reason for screaming was like you could tell she was trying so hard, and she could talk like
Yeah.
she could talk before she was 2 very well, full sentences, but it was just like she would be really trying to explain something to us, and we
Yeah.
weren't getting it, and we knew as soon as we didn't get it, it was just gonna explode out of nowhere. So,
Wow.
yeah. Oh, what a good time though. That's so
Yeah.
nice.
I miss it, you know? It's,
Yeah,
oh, the cuddles. There
the
was a lot
cuddle.
of screaming, but there were so many cuddles.
Did he have an iPad at 2 or 3?
Yeah. Oh my god, yes. You know, I
iPad, tablet. Did he have a tablet?
yes, he had an iPad, not a tablet.
Okay.
There is we as moms have to remember so much lingo and changes. So whatever comes to mind, just go with it. If it's correct or not correct, whatever, because moms understand each other.
That is true. There's entirely too much stuff to remember, including their
Yeah.
classmates' names. I'm like, oh, they're like, you don't remember so and so, and I'm like, I thought this person was in your class. No, she's in the other one's class. I'm like, oops. Well, I guess I was talking to the wrong mommy about the field trip.
I
Oh,
have that all the time. I just was the other day I was at his at a game after a game and he's like, oh, one of his friends said something to me and I afterwards we walked home. I'm like, who was that? He's like, Mom, you met him 3 times. I'm like, what? You all look the same with that weird haircut, you know? Like I'm happy that I put on clothes that match. Like, give me some slack. Not easy being mommy.
another reason why I'm happy that they're not like chatting yet, not because of like the risk, but also like, can you imagine well, I'm sure you have to. Like now you have to remember the names of the kids that they're chatting with online and
Yeah.
meeting on the games, and then remember the kids that are on the sports team and then the music group, and then like what? Oh no, that's my mall friend. It's like, what do you mean? Do the kids still go to the mall?
Yes, it started again. It's really fun. But I'm also, I'm in a metro area. They can just take the subway or whatever and go to the mall and do that by himself. It took me a while to be cool enough for them to do that. And at first it was like, oh my god, let me give you the times of the train and like planning it out. And now they can read their own maps and figure it out. I once in a while get like a panic call, like, so that train, does that actually go home or does it go somewhere else? I'm like, oh god. But they're doing well. They're going back in malls. Not as often. It's not like when we were young, but it's once in a while they do go.
That's
So
fun. I love that that's coming back because I'm like, why don't you all just go to the mall? And people are looking at me like, it's also a safety thing, which makes me sad that like going to the mall isn't as like free, but it like adds more worry to people's minds.
but everything is. But then again, we can track them now in our phones, and I know
I
where he
know.
is
Our
sometimes.
parents were letting us run free throughout all these cities and malls without being
Yeah,
tracked.
absolutely.
So speaking of like different like generational things. I'd love to talk about you. Obviously, you grew up in Germany. I grew up in the United States, and we have like different school dance cultures. And I love to know, did you have prom or
We had something very similar, as
okay?
in you graduate and you have an, end of your school career party,
Uh-huh.
and with dancing, and at the beginning it was a celebration with the parents, and at the end the parents get kicked out and it's just the kids. So it's different, but it's similar because it symbolizes the same thing.
And it's like chaperone?
Yes, there were some chaperones, yeah, but it's different in a way that, the legal drinking age is 18, so we
Oh,
had actually
no, that's
had
fair.
alcohol.
Probably at a different time than we did. So for me in high school, we had homecoming in the fall, and then we had it was winter dance, but it was called like winter fling or something. Don't get me wrong, I don't
Yeah,
remember. Shout out to all the cadets out there. And then we had prom, but only
mhm,
senior prom. And I went to a school with junior ROTC, meaning that like not military training, but like it's like
yeah.
junior
Oh,
cadets.
it's interesting because that's for me a whole new world. You're flinging
Yeah,
around.
it was optional, but you also like you weren't serving in the military. You were
Mhm,
just like the structure and like learning about it. And so I
mhm,
did not participate, but the people who did, they had like we called it Reg Ball. And it was a lot more formal. In my opinion, it seemed like a lot more formal than prom. So we had like a huge school dance culture. And more recently, I've just been seeing these conversations about parents and, kids being
yeah,
concerned about giving or not giving consent before like they being asked to a school dance. So like so their partner or potential
yeah.
partner or someone that likes them is sending them a note or a text or a DM or something and saying, hey, meet me in on the school football field or something. And then the person shows up and they're being recorded by a whole bunch of people from their school on
Oh, wow.
live, on digital, and it's like, "Will you go to the dance with me?" And it's like, in some cases, it's like this nice romantic gesture, but like, what if you did not consent
Mhm,
to have that online? And I think it's a huge conversation to have about consent generally because I mean, it's as can be as simple as like me walking down the street and somebody's like shooting content. Like, I don't
yeah,
want to be in the back of your content. You didn't ask me, but like now you're adding me to the back of your content. You're not blurring me out. You're not cutting me out. I could be on a phone call that's sensitive. Like, but most importantly, like, how do you prepare your kids for that kind of like digital consent culture?
it's tough because they kind of have to be ready at all times, because now it is, as you said, kids are just trying to stand out, a lot of them trying to make careers with interesting content and gaining followers and all that, and which is almost always at the expense of someone else to get like this truly surprised, shocked reaction. It is tough. It is really tough.
I didn't think about the what is it, the influencer economy that's a part of this too. Because yeah, like a lot of people's stuff includes like an audience in real time, but also
Yeah,
like your digital audience. And
absolutely. I mean, but what I can see from how my son uses it, they do as friends how they communicate. I'm sure we're gonna have another episode about this, how our teens communicate these days. Within each other, they keep it not open. So they use, for instance, Snapchat, those messages there that disappear, so it's somewhat private. However, all of them have an open public, somewhat a forum on Insta, TikTok, or Snap, where they post stuff and they compare notes, or who has the more followers and this went well, and absolutely everybody has that. So they shoot this stuff to get more followers, more views, and it can be anything. Like sometimes I see him in videos of where you're just playing, basketball in the background of someone else's video, and I don't think he gave the consent, but that's what it is. Everybody's trying to shoot something. Our kids have to be so prepared and almost need a PR professional to make them ready for the world, because you have to be with like a little click. You have to be camera ready and be able to pivot, because if somebody just ask you like, "Hey, do you want to go to prom with me?" And your first reaction is like, "Hell no, I don't even know you." You can't say that because then you're gonna be labeled words when that person posts on their socials. That's a really tough one.
How do you handle a conversation like that with your son where he's like, I want to ask so and so
Mhm.
to, well, I guess prom would be like the next thing that comes up, or like homecoming, right? For the fall. And he's like, oh, but she wants me to ask her in a certain way so that
Mhm.
we can point post it on Instagram. But she'll only say yes if we get a certain number of likes. Like that's like, how do you have that kind of conversation since you didn't grow up with that
Yeah.
sort of culture?
I always try my number one thing is treat people and people around you the way you want to be treated. So
Mhm.
they often, it's teenagers. They talk, they're like, holy moly. When you hear them talk with their friends, you think they're enemies, but actually that's how they talk to each other. And sometimes I step in I'm like, what do you mean? Why are you so mean to each other? And they're like, no, this is fun. And I'm like, okay, but how would you think or feel when one of your friends always uses that one word with you? Wouldn't that make you upset? He's like, yeah, maybe. I'm like, okay, just keep that in the back of your mind, maybe to not always call him that, you know? So that is my general response. Treat people and your friends how you want to be treated. And in that respect, with that question, how do you, I would say I would want to know and have a heads up. So ask her beforehand. Just give a little hint like, hey, I would really like to ask you, what would your answer be? Or how, just talk to your friends beforehand and have a private conversation over text or in person so nobody is, surprised. And then just, I mean, come on, just fake it for the camera to get your likes or the views because that's what this world is, right? Like there's an outside persona and there's an inside persona, but the inside persona you can absolutely control and make sure that they portray your beliefs or teach them the right beliefs, and hopefully they will take that on and be nice and kind.
So let's take a step back here because I'm curious about that because I'm like on team post real or don't post at all.
Yeah.
um, kind of thing. And you obviously have a teen.
Mhm.
So, there's the whole like banning kids from social media and, you have to be over
Wild.
16, be
Yeah.
16 and stuff. And in the last episode, you were talking about how smart these teens are. They can obviously like use your phone, they can use somebody else's phone. So, in that regard, do you think that the people who are like for banning aren't taking
Mhm.
into consideration the fact that like not only do kids have these workarounds,
Yeah.
but they're still finding a way to have this culture, not just access, but this culture anyway. Because
Yeah.
even if you ban under 16s from this, right?
Yeah.
How do you then authorize consent when over 16s are filming 15s and 14s and stuff? Because then they're still on the internet regardless, because you're not just banning a certain group from using it, you're also
Yeah.
banning them from being a part of it, like their face on it and stuff like that too. But if I'm not on it to like tell people I don't consent to this, how do I also protect myself?
That's the thing, right? You can only control your own actions. And
Hmm.
I cannot control all the kids around him that film. So my best advice is taking from my wild youth is don't let nobody take a picture of you while you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. That's even more so now because I'm like, the moment you leave the house, anybody can take a picture of anything. So be aware about your surroundings and only with your absolutely closest friends let loose or whatever you want to do. But it's, I don't want to be in their shoes. It is so hard because one person takes out of context something they say, or when they talk really rough with each other and puts it out there, and they're labeled, get labeled, and that can, in the worst case scenario, I mean, colleges check for that online for their presence, and it can ruin his entire future career. So that's my advice: is be always be always on the lookout. Only let loose with your really close friends, and just make sure to behave very consciously outside. It's tough. I don't want to be in their shoes right now. So just prepare them. What can happen? The worst case scenarios.
And maybe
It's
this is me like changing hats for a minute because I was the
Mhm.
teenager that like I wasn't like the popular kid or the cool kid or
Yeah,
whatever. I just kind of existed. But things that other people thought were nerdy that I was proud of, I kept
yeah.
being proud of because I'm like, I'm not quote
Right.
unquote ruining my reputation or anything like that. So I would love to see culture maybe let's say your son gets to like his senior year of college and
Mhm.
we start shifting the way that you're communicating with your son of saying like hey anybody can post anything so watch your behavior and stuff like that to us shifting to say like it's not your business what somebody else is doing like if they're picking their nose like that's
Yeah.
their nose that's them picking it you they did not give you the consent to record
Yeah.
them and then make them go viral on whatever social media platform you're using because
Yeah.
you and your audience think it's funny that a stranger is now picking their nose. You know what I'm saying? So
That
like anything like that, right? Because like I and you can speak to this too because you are
yeah.
also a Virgo. And
Ah!
I I have a different parenting style online and in the physical world for my youngest daughter, and you can tell her to act a certain way or do a certain thing so that something does not happen or to
Yeah.
be aware of something. Nothing is going to stop her from being her authentic self, whether she's in the house or outside the house. I would hope that someone else gives her the same grace to
Yeah.
not record her doing something that is her authentic self. Like, no, she shouldn't be out here doing something that she could get, I don't know, in trouble for or anything like that. But at the same time, like, if she's just being carefree and dancing off beat, I don't
Mhm.
want her to then go viral on somebody else's page because they think that it's funny and they want to embarrass her or something like that. So I'd love the takeaway or takeaway originally was like obviously talk to your kids about consent, but the way that you're talking to your son about consent and the way that I want to encourage everyone to talk
Mhm.
about consent are two very different things. And I think your message is equally as important as mine. Like right now, we're in a very weird time where
Yeah.
like it's just like content, 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 which I'm glad I took 2 years off of Instagram. I don't have TikTok, so I just don't.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not judging anyone. You know, so people are on it for business or whatever, but I wanted to take a mental break from scrolling and like actively do something else. And
I
I
Yeah,
have.
which is great. I applaud you. It's not for everyone, but for some
It's
people,
not. But I'd love to see other people take the initiative, especially for under 18, right? Like encourage your kids, your teens to not use somebody else's human experience
that's all
to
what you can do. Yeah.
yeah, to get likes and stuff. And then maybe adults will fall in line. And just so we're clear, I do not consent if you see me, you know, trying to take an eyelash out my eye, or if I drop my glasses in the middle of the street and I look a little disheveled. Please don't put that on social media. I'm having a moment. Help me
Yeah,
out. Be like, oh, girl, your glasses are right here. Let me help you. And it doesn't have to be on anything. You can tweet about it, or what is it? Do you still call it tweet? What's
I
X?
have no idea.
Okay,
I give
well,
up. Like, why
I
would you change the names on us so much? Like, we are not talking about anything. Come on.
so tweet about the time where you saw this girl struggling in the street and you helped her find her glasses rather than posting me struggling and not helping me on Instagram because that's how we make the digital world a better place, you know, just supporting people in real experiences.
Treat others how you want to be treated. And I think that is the best thing you can teach your kids, because this is expands to the digital online world. Because I tell him, you don't want to be shown picking your nose, so don't show your friends picking your nose, and that's it. And I think that message sticks, and if they're all adhering to that, it's the best thing you can do. Everything else, you drive yourself crazy. It's out of your hand. So this is the best you can do for your kids, I think.
Fair enough. Well, mentor, thank you as always. I want our audience
Thanks
to
for having me. It's fun.
Always, always. Please talk to your kids about digital consent and what that looks like for them, and then what that looks like for them in public spaces at schools and things like that. And give them space to ask a question to you. Like, give them space to answer questions that you have. Have they ever been on someone's page without consent, and like how did that make them feel, and help them navigate situations like that so it
Great.
doesn't happen again.
Yeah,
Like if it is a close friend, be like, hey, like I love that you enjoyed that moment with me, but I don't really need other people to like live it with us. And I think that that's a fair conversation to have for teenagers. How you have that with like under 13s, I don't know, because you really shouldn't be on social media based on the recommendations of the social media companies under a certain age. Uh, so having those different conversations and navigating that, because it's so much more than like just letting them scroll, right? For the kids that are teens that are under 13, kids that are under 13, excuse me. I see a lot of parents saying, they're just 12. Let me just let them scroll on mine. But like there's a reason and there's a lot of thought that goes into these age restrictions, and let
absolutely.
them and your kids' friends or like your parent teacher associations like get together with the parents of the school and find a cohesive way to talk about digital consent and what that looks like for you as a community, and see where it goes.
Yeah, that's the best. Communication comes all back down to communication, right?
Yeah, but
It's
we don't talk to each other now, we text and
oh,
things on Instagram.
absolutely.
Talk to each other. That's the real takeaway from this. Well, for those who drink, yes. For those
Yeah.
who don't, non-alcoholic beer, I guess, lemon
There you
water. All right. If you're listening to this and you're getting your kids ready for homecoming, spring fling, whatever it is, have fun and talk to them about digital consent before they get asked to a dance or ask someone to a dance. All right.
go.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you, Jana. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
This podcast is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional advice, including medical, mental health, or legal guidance. The views expressed by hosts and/or guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Family Online Safety Institute, otherwise known as FOSI. Guest contributions are based on personal experience and are not intended as professional guidance. Any mention of products, services, organizations, or tools is for discussion purposes only and does not constitute an endorsement by the Family Online Safety Institute